if you feel like you are stuck in life and you're repeating the same patterns over and over again, whether it be your relationships or your career, it might be because you have not processed your childhood trauma. I only realized it myself, like truly realized it myself, about 4 weeks ago, even though I have heard about inner child and about childhood trauma multiple times before. But I feel like for some reason it never truly resonated until very recently. So the way it happened to me, I came across this Instagram post that enumerated different symptoms that you might have if you experienced complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And that was the term that I've never heard of before. For short, it's called C-PTSD. And I realized at that moment that this is exactly what I am experiencing. Like pretty much every single of those symptoms was something that I've been dealing with on a consistent basis. So today I just wanted to talk about the first step that you might want to do if you feel like you are repeating the same patterns in your behavior and you feel like these patterns do not serve you, you do not want to repeat them anymore, but you feel unable to change anything. Also, I want to specifically address things that might be useful to people who are not ready to go into therapy and who want to try to deal with these things by themselves, maybe because you can't afford therapy, but also maybe because you've tried multiple therapists and they never really understood what's truly going on with you and they were not really helpful. So the first step is to educate yourself, and I would link a bunch of resources that I found useful when I fell into this rabbit hole a few weeks ago. Like, as I said, I myself am undergoing this process right now, so I am not healed from it. I am not like past this difficult stage. I am pretty much in the very beginning, and this is why I want to talk about these things, because I am experiencing it right now and I've only recently realized how crazy important it is, and that's why I actually want to share, because like it's super important to me right now. It really touches me, and I hope to connect with other people who are also experiencing this right now. And also in a way it will be some sort of like a diary of my healing. So I want to do it as much for myself as for your benefit. But for me, the first thing I did, I found a book that's called What My Bones Know. It's a book, it's like a fiction book, but it's based on a real story. Or maybe it's like truly real. I actually do not remember exactly, but it doesn't really matter. Like what it explains is just how your childhood trauma might impact you as an adult, and it shows how the author, healed to a certain degree. And I found it extremely touching, and I resonated with it quite a lot. Like I cried like crazy when I was reading it. I want to emphasize that it doesn't mean that you necessarily needed to have like a crazy bad childhood for you to be experiencing any symptoms. Complex PTSD basically means that you have been under extreme stress, you have been in traumatic circumstances for your psyche as a child, and it does not necessarily mean that you were like truly abused or neglected in a very widespread sense of the word, but it still means that for you as a child, the experiences that you had were too much to bear, and you had to develop certain strategies to survive those circumstances. And these strategies that are ingrained in your brain right now, they do not help you to survive as an adult, and sometimes they are totally dysfunctional in your today circumstances. Like for me, for example, I did not grow up in a family that was abusive in any serious sort of way. Like there was no physical abuse, there was no verbal abuse as far as I can remember, but there was a constant tension and feeling, especially till I was like 7 years old, like between 5 and 7, there was a period when my parents were divorcing and I was staying with my mom, and my mom was just completely unable to process her emotions, and she was quite often hysterical or didn't know how to express herself. She would like completely lose it. She would cry a lot, and I, as like 4 or 5 year old girl, tried to calm her down, and I really wanted her to be happy. So like from a very young age, I sort of became like an emotional caretaker of my mom, which was completely impossible, of course, for me to do, but that's what I tried to do. And like this is just one of the, one typical dynamic that plays out that is very dysfunctional for a child. This is definitely what I had to deal with for quite a long time. If you find yourself in this situation and you feel like it resonates, I would advise you to go and educate yourself as much as you can on complex PTSD, read the books, watch YouTube videos. The channel that I found the most useful on this topic so far is channeled by Dr. Patrick. So his videos are just absolutely insane. Like they are so useful. Every single video that I watched of him has been speaking directly to my heart, and like I absolutely love everything that he's doing. First, educate yourself, and then when you're ready to actually start practicing, I would advise you to do the technique that I will explain in the next video that you can watch here.